What is up, everybody? We're back from a brief hiatus with the Living Electric podcast. We're back with some good news, though. We were recently named... Actually, let me back up. I didn't even tell my joke.
No, I think you should start here. We already started recording.
Okay, fine. So we're starting off with some bad news, actually, not good news.
Yeah.
Bad news is we are not the nation's top EV podcast, at least right now. The rankings came out from FeedSpot, and we were named one of the best 40 EV podcasts, so we're happy about that, but we're only number 22 on the list. So pretty good, I think. For our first rank, definitely. We've got some room to grow. And so biggest thing you can do to help us rise in the rankings here is give us reviews on all your favorite podcast platforms. So definitely leave us 5 stars if you like the podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
And then just make sure you're following us everywhere on social media and help kind of get the word out about the podcast. That's probably the 2 biggest things you could do to actually make us the nation's leading EV podcast.
Yes. I mean, regardless of being 22, that's a Taylor Swift song. So that's a win. But also right. Yeah, I'm not sure if that means anything to our listeners, but how exciting is that? Out of the top 40 EV podcasts around the world, we're 22 on this list. That is
true. We may be higher in the US rankings, so I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you, FeedSpot, for, highlighting Living Electric and all the work that Alex and I are doing, because we're having a lot of fun. And even though we're, only on episode 41, things are growing like crazy. And it's really all thanks to our listeners.
Definitely. Yeah, and shout out to everybody else on the list, too. I recognize a lot of the podcasts there, but I've got a lot more to check out now. I didn't realize how many were actually out there that are kind of doing similar podcasts to us. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think I need to stop listening to too many true crime podcasts and start listening to other EV podcasts. I just can't help it.
You don't listen to Living Electric exclusively and listen to your own voice?
I do, yes, and that's why we're number 22. It's because I keep it on repeat all the time.
I got to start doing that.
Yep. That's how you learn to make better audio, right?
That's right.
You got to learn. Yeah, and this time we don't have heavy breathing in the background. The last episode we had my dog Harvey in the background, and he was dreaming, and the entire time it picked up on the microphone. And
excellent.
Thank God
Great
for
content.
Alex's amazing editing skills.
That is a nice thing. Since we're not in the same studio, we can isolate certain rooms if we've got pets. So
yes,
that helps us a lot.
Exactly.
So you just got back from Arizona. Do you want to kind of lay the groundwork of what you're out there for?
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why we didn't have an episode go live last week. Alex and I were both traveling for work. I personally wish that it was a vacation. But I spent 9 days in Arizona labeling charging stations across Arizona Public Service's service territory. They're an electric utility out there that Chargeway has partnered with to do dealership programs as well as EV education and labeling charging stations. So when a driver pulls up, they know that charger works directly with their vehicle in tandem with the Chargeway mobile app. So I went around the state pretty much labeling hundreds of charging stations with our labels, getting to meet different people, businesses, explore Arizona in a very intimate way. But it was a blast. And I drove, I think, a total of 1,300 miles across the state in 9 days.
You did the opposite of what I did. You did the warm trip.
Yes.
I did the cold trip.
Yeah. How cold was it where you went?
It got really cold the first day when I drove up to Michigan. It was under 10 degrees, and then luckily it kind of started to warm up the following days. But it was freezing.
It was the opposite though. The hottest it got was 105 degrees the one day.
Oh.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Yeah, and stupid me, I like to wear black clothing, so of course that's all I packed except for one blue shirt.
Right.
So I was just in black the entire time, just drenched.
Oh gosh. Jeez.
But Yeah, I don't want to ramble too much. I feel like when I have the door, the floor to like a story, I just
It's dangerous.
What was it?
It's dangerous.
Yes, yeah. I feel like I ramble, and that's probably why Brandon's villain origin story isn't doing so well right now. But
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, it was an amazing trip. I got to explore Arizona. The first day I was at the Grand Canyon, I drove 3.5 hours up there from Phoenix when I arrived, and I kind of zigzagged my way from the Grand Canyon to Flagstaff, Sedona, Prescott, then down to Anthem, Arizona. And then I looped my way around northern Scottsdale to Surprise, Arizona, which is on the west side. The west side of Phoenix, and then I worked my way to Phoenix Metro, and then ended my trip in the Mesa, Tempe, and Chandler area.
Oh my gosh! All over the place.
Yes, and then made my way down to Casa Grande, which is kind of south of Phoenix, whereas Lucid's factory is. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I didn't find that out until I got home that it was there.
Gotcha. Did you have a favorite like charging station or charging location along the trip?
Oh,
Any that like stuck out as like a one that you're like, this is a good spot?
Yeah.
Anything like that?
Yeah. The thing that like blew my mind is that there's like hundreds of charging stations across like Phoenix and Sedona and Flagstaff.
Right.
And as well as going up to the Grand Canyon, they're all over Arizona, and APS is working really hard to install charging stations that are both non-network as well as partnering with Electrify America on some of their fast chargers.
Gotcha.
So we're kind of seeing like this wide spectrum of charging accessibility for drivers. And they're installing them at like hotels, private businesses, a lot of fleet installs. They're installing them at like community centers, parking lots, parking garages. So they're everywhere. But the thing that always blew my mind is that no matter where I was, I felt like there was mountains, which kind of surprised me about Arizona. Have you been to
Don't
Arizona?
have those in Ohio.
No, no, we don't.
It is funny. Like I'm trying to think if I've been to Arizona or not. I've been down to like Las Vegas area, so like kind of near the border of Arizona. But yeah, it is funny when you travel out west or like even like down into the kind of the Appalachia area, like you're just suddenly surrounded by mountains and it's a complete like change of scenery. It's wild.
Yeah, it blew my mind. Like it was I don't know exactly what kind of I just wanted to say dirt. I don't know what kind of like rock material. I feel like, I'm trying to think of the proper terms. I think maybe sandstone, or it was some type of red, material that the mountains were. I'm really struggling here to think of what they were.
We need to get Mallory on here. She's the rock
right.
expert.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, she'd be able to help. But it was beautiful. Like I thoroughly loved Arizona. It was my first time there, and like I was a bit nervous about traffic because I've always heard like horror stories about Phoenix traffic. Yeah. And I think I'm more of an aggressive driver than I like to realize because I like fit in perfectly in Arizona.
That's good.
But I mean, it was beautiful. I think I can't think of an exact like charging station that was like the most like prominent one in my mind, but there was one. It was on a private property, and I was able to get a photo of it. But just the way that the Clipper Creek chargers were, it was highlighted by a mountain range, and it was just
that's cool.
all fields, and then this huge mountain with like a snowy peak. It was beautiful. Cool. Yeah, that was near Flagstaff. So they have a lot of like ski resorts and stuff like that there.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's funny to like. I know that's a common thing a lot of people bring up is like, oh, I haven't seen many charging stations, so they must not exist. And like, I think we've talked about this before on the podcast. We had to have, but the like when you actually start looking for them, you start to realize how many are actually out there right now. Yeah. And then like as an EV driver, you start realizing we have a ton right now, but we still need more. Like it's crazy how like kind of far behind we're lagging. And unfortunately, I think we're going to kind of get to the point where the vehicles might like outpace charging installations, and we're like going to start lagging and like having some issues where there just aren't enough chargers. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one concern. I mean, especially as we're seeing more and more videos of like superchargers filling up, and there's now like requests for adapters, which just mean the other charging stations are going to fill up. Like,
yeah,
adapters don't fix the problem. Like, we need.
Are you calling me out for the request for adapters?
No, I just everywhere on Twitter, I just keep saying like, we need the CCS to Tesla adapter. I'm like, that just means the other chargers are going to be filled up too. Like, it's just like I know obviously funding is going to be needed for these like charging expansions or station expansions, but I honestly, I think the thing that really needs to be targeted is home charging, ability for, like multifamily housing to have access to charging and not have to rely on public chargers as much.
Right.
And that should hopefully ease up some of the bottlenecks that we're seeing.
Definitely. I think that's a big thing that people don't realize is like how much of your charging is actually done at home and how many people can utilize home charging. I actually looked up, because I'm working on writing like a LinkedIn article right now. Over 2/3 of American households, like where people spend the night basically, either have a garage or a carport. Over 2/3. So like
wow.
A majority of Americans at least are spending the night somewhere where they have a driveway or carport where they can store their car. Granted, obviously there's another third of that where people are multi-unit dwellings or just have on-street parking. Obviously that exists too, but that's not the majority. So I think the home charging option definitely is a big piece of the puzzle. And I think a lot of people don't really realize we don't need a 1-to-1 like gas station to charging station. Like we just won't need as many because of that home charging. So like fast charging really is only going to be for when people are traveling and for people that might not have home charging and live in a multi-unit dwelling, maybe that it's at their grocery store or something. They just do a once a week trip and they plug in there, get their groceries, and they're good to go. So there's a lot of other options out there.
Yeah, and that's where I think like a lot of other parties need to get involved, and not necessarily just the charging networks.
Right.
It's obviously the utility, it's the apartment complexes, it's the landlords, it's it's the people who just, I think that it takes a group to get things resolved there.
Definitely.
And that was one thing that kind of excited me about APS's program with installing like these non-network chargers, is that every location they installed at least 4 chargers. So
wow.
Which is great. They were all non-network Clipper Creek 7.7 kilowatt chargers. So, like if you're working, you get a free charge. Like if you're at a hotel, you can charge overnight. Like, and they're expanding that program to hundreds of locations. So
that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. You mentioned like other people need to get on board. I think the big shift that's happening right now is people that have never had to worry about fueling before are now having to be a part of this fueling scenario with EVs. So it's definitely a big like kind of paradigm shift for a lot of people. But I think once people are educated and realize the positives and the gosh, I'm trying to think of the word, the benefits that can come out of installing charging, they're on board pretty quickly. So
Yeah, you kind of hit it right on the head. The trip wasn't exactly the perfect trip. I will say that I did run into some issues with like, I don't want to say issues, but just like kind of hesitation from like hotel management and like some property managers.
Really?
When it came to labeling, because a lot of, you hit it right on the head. Like they're now the fuel source. They're the fuel provider,
right.
And a lot of the charging to them is just an amenity for guests. It's not like they think about that. They have a million other things to be concerned with. So a lot of the time I would go up asking if I could label their stations, and it would be a no, because that's not their responsibility. That's above them, or like,
right.
They can't approve that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that a lot of guests, look for hotel charging, and they want to know that it's going to work for them. So definitely. It's an odd landscape right now. Like I feel like a lot of businesses need to get educated and get ready for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But
and so what car did you drive around Arizona?
I knew that question was coming.
It's a loaded question.
Yes, it is. I just want to preface this is that I did the research to rent an electric vehicle. I was looking for a Model 3 on Turo, but because the way that gas prices have gone, Turo prices have increased dramatically. And a lot of the rental companies that I looked at did not have an electric vehicle to rent because a lot of people were renting them. So sadly, I had to rent a 500 horsepower Mustang GT, which, I mean, as a car enthusiast, like I was kind of excited to like try it out because I've always heard like cool things about Mustangs. But one, I just want to say I didn't realize how much I was going to fall in love with the car, but not the gas prices.
Right.
So yeah, that was my vehicle. I filled up 5 times the entire trip, and it was $300.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's a premium, which the most I paid for gas was $6.50 a gallon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where at?
That was right outside the Grand Canyon, so of course it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah,
but
hitting all the travelers.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. But I mean it was a cool car, and it handled the entire trip incredibly. It had 65,000 miles on it, and for 95 to 105 degrees, it was it was a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but I mean the thing is, and Alex and I were talking about this earlier, and I'm probably going to steal your interview questions.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
But the thing is that as I was planning this trip using Chargeway and like looking for stations using Chargeway, the whole thing easily could have been done using an electric vehicle. Every city I stopped in, there was charging stations at a hotel. There was superchargers accessible that literally would have taken me everywhere that I needed to have gone, as well as Electrify America stations. Pretty much every hotel that I stopped at had some type of charging option. There was EA stations pretty much in every city that I spent the night in, and a handful of Tesla superchargers. So it would have been easy to have done it in an EV. It just there was none available.
I think it helps that you were actually visiting. Like the trip was to visit charging stations too. I think that definitely helps. Do you think you would have built that into like the trip if you're like, oh, I got to go out and label this fast charger, I'll just stop here for lunch or something and label the station, plug in, and then keep going?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that would have been the whole trip. Like it would have been nice to have had an EV accessible, because then I could have done a video of the trip as well, because it was close to 1,500 miles, and like some of the areas I went to were like incredibly remote.
Right.
I mean, like literally no buildings until like I found where I had to label.
Just a stranded charger in the middle of the desert.
Right. Exactly. I mean, yeah, one in Joseph City that APS installed at one of the local schools. It was like a 2-hour drive east of Flagstaff, and it was just literally desert. I mean, like tumbleweeds. I drove through a man. My friend from Arizona told me what it's called. It was called a not a dust tornado. A dust devil, I think that's what they call him. Dirt devil, yes, yeah,
like the sweeper.
Yeah, like the sweeper. Yeah, I was gonna say like the vacuum. But I saw a massive one like spinning like as I was driving on the highway. Like that was crazy. But like they have charging stations out there, so like if I needed to, I could have stopped, and they were level 2s, but like if I needed to, and then literally 10 miles east of there was a supercharger. So
wow, huh?
Yeah. That's a great thing with Arizona, is that like pretty much everywhere you really need to go, they have charging, capabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that been in the, like, I don't know how many states you've traveled to. Do you feel like that's the case in most states you've traveled to? Like since you've had an EV? No.
I feel like, the thing that surprised me is that like Arizona was very forward, like, or progressive when it came to like charging and solar. I mean, like almost every building had like some type of solar canopy or solar cells on top of their roof, which was really cool. I mean, it was sunny the entire time, so I can only imagine. But yeah, compared to other states, Arizona, I would say, is almost on the same level as California. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense when you realize how much power potential there is out there with the sun shining. Most of the time, it's super hot. Like there's just so much energy you can absorb out there that doesn't need to be burning coal or gas or whatever else. So that certainly helps the business case a ton.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and I know APS is really involved with that. Like on their branded Clipper Creek Chargers, it says like bringing EVs and clean fuel to Arizona. So like
there you go.
Yeah, they're really involved with making sure that like the way that the cars are fueled is clean.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're in Ohio, obviously, and we border West Virginia, and West Virginia is like notoriously one of the like. I don't think they have any fast chargers in the whole state of, or at least like none above 50 kW fast chargers in West Virginia.
Yeah, I think they have 3 green CCS chargers, but they have superchargers. So like, I don't know how Tesla worked their way in there.
Oh, they do have superchargers in West Virginia? Okay.
Yeah.
So non-Tesla fast chargers.
Yes,
I guess to clarify.
If you route a trip using Chargeway, using like a green car, it actually takes you away from West Virginia.
That's not good.
Nope. So
yeah, because I've heard we've had some people from West Virginia attend some of our events, and they literally have to drive through the whole state without stopping. So it's like a little disconcerting, but
Yeah, I think it's like a Harley dealership and a Kia dealership, and then there's one other one in West Virginia, and then the rest are superchargers. But yeah, but no, I mean it was an incredible trip. I got to catch up with some YouTube friends, Blake Check. Highly recommend checking out his YouTube channel. We got a chance to get dinner, got a chance to ride in his Stealth Model 3 Performance.
Oh, is that what he has?
Yep.
Yeah, the Stealth Model 3 is really cool. I wish I would have looked into that more, because it's essentially the performance motors, but everything else is like the all-wheel drive, like long-range car. So It doesn't have like all the upgraded stuff that costs more, and it's like kind of just a slight motor upgrade, so you get the better performance.
Yeah, but it felt like kind of like the I would say like the P90D with intense mode on. Like it wasn't quite
it's pushing like it's low 3s 0 to 60, right? So
yeah, it definitely wasn't like ludicrous fast, but it felt good to ride in that car. Oh, I will say, Alex, the one car I did get to see the refreshed Model S with the new taillights and headlights.
Oh, okay.
So I was waiting actually for dinner with Blake and his wife Jess at Arizona State University, which I guess is like kind of comparable to OSU in terms of partying.
Okay.
So like I was just standing there and I looked up and it was a brand new Model S, and the taillight design and the headlight design, even though it's like very similar to what it was, they did a great job. It looks a lot better. Much better. Yeah.
I know they had some issues with the old version of the headlights too, so I'd assume that's part of the reason they did the redesign. Yeah. So I'm hoping that fixes some of those issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, other than that, it looked great. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that like really happened with Arizona. I did get to go to a crater site, which is pretty cool.
I saw you post pictures about that. That looked crazy.
It was nuts. Well, one, I just got to say, I can't believe how windy it is out in the desert. I'm not really sure why they don't have like wind turbines. I don't know if maybe they just can't handle how fast the wind was.
I don't know.
But it was like 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts. Like it was nuts.
That's funny.
Especially at that crater, it was a it's I believe it's like a national site. It's not like a national park, but it's some type of like
historical site or something like that.
Something. Okay. Yeah, and it's like 5 miles through a ranch. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. So like you get off the highway and it's literally 5 to 6 miles through a ranch. And they have like the cow guards so they can't like run out, which I never really understood how those worked. But you just keep going and it just keeps like crater site coming and like impact site, 3 miles away, and you just keep driving. And I got to tell you, seeing the Grand Canyon for the first time was beautiful, but this crater was probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen, because to me it felt like the Grand Canyon's like a natural erosion, type of like I'm just gonna say place because I don't want to like sound like I'm into geology.
Well, it's a canyon, so
yes, a canyon. There we go. Yeah, a natural formed canyon. But the crater site to me was so impressive because it was from out of this world. Like the out of this world force caused this massive thing, and you're driving through this ranch, and then all of a sudden you see this mountain, and then you're like, holy crap, that's the crater site. And it just gets taller and taller as you go.
Oh my gosh.
And you have to climb like 3 flights of stairs. And when you get there, it's literally a half a mile wide and probably maybe like 300 feet deep. Like, I mean, it's
my gosh.
It's huge. Like the photos don't do it justice. It was so cool.
Wow. That's like scary almost. Puts like everything in perspective.
Yes. No, totally. I mean, like it made me feel like an ant. Like it just like if a meteor, like it wasn't even that big. I think it was only like, I don't know, it probably burned up, but it like, I think it was only like 10 to 15 feet wide or something like that.
Oh, and made that big impact?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, but that was pretty cool.
That's scary. Yeah.
But other than that, it was just a fun trip, and I'm just happy to be home.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'll take like this big long trip. It'll be a lot of fun. And I'm like, it'll be like the third day, and I'm like, I just want to go sleep in my own bed.
Right. Yeah. I do want to say, thank you to APS and Chargeway for allowing me to have that really cool experience.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. So if you're in those areas and you see a Chargeway sticker, take a photo and add it to Chargeway because I can guarantee I had something to do with that.
Trying to think if I have any updates to share. I know you did want me to talk about some of the car upgrades I've been doing.
Yes.
Not as exciting, but some stuff I've been doing. So
it's still exciting.
That's true. It's somewhat EV related. So this is like my last summer. I wanted to do a ton of like car upgrades, but I don't know why I just never got to them. I was way busier than I am this summer, I guess, and probably have saved some more money, which helps.
Yeah. Money definitely helps.
Right. So I'm working on just doing some upgrades to my car because it's over 2 years old now. Kind of freshen it up a little bit, make it look a little cooler. I'm bummed though because I missed out on like all the updates I would have liked with the new Model 3s. Like yours has the black trim, which I like way better. Like just like a lot of little stuff. The new center console I really wish I had. Like mine just feels cheap now looking at the newer one. So a lot of that stuff I'm missing out on. But I went ahead and put some new rims on it. So I've got the old sport rims. I actually won from Test Bros. They did a competition like last September or something? I can't remember what month it was.
Has it been almost a year since you won that?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
It's been a while. They've been just like stored in my closet and garage for a while. So I finally got those put on. So they're the old sport rims and they're powder coated black. So they look really nice, kind of have a matte like satinish finish to them.
Nice.
So I got those put on. I looked into I needed new tires anyway, so that was part of the reason I like did the change. And I looked into those Pirelli tires I think we talked about on the other a few podcasts ago.
Yeah.
And they're just not selling them right now in the US. I think they announced them, but it's always like they always do these announcements and then it's like months before they actually announce it for sale. So
yeah.
Hopefully when that rolls out, I'll look into getting something like that because I've already seen a little bit of a range hit on my new tires and rims. I think it's a combination of the bigger rims, but also the new tires. So we'll see. I ended up going with the Continental Extreme Comfort, I think is what they're called.
Oh, okay.
So,
are they summer tires or all season?
They're all season, I believe. So
okay.
I've also heard there's like a wear-in period for new tires too, if they're like extra sticky and like when you first get them. So like after you drive a little bit, they kind of wear out and the range gets better, I guess. So
I guess that would make sense because if it's like new fresh rubber, I'm assuming you'd probably have to wear down a little bit to reduce friction.
I'm not 100% sure how like scientifically correct that is. That's at least what I saw on some of the forums when I was like looking at tires because it's so funny, like with EVs is you almost have to re-engineer every single part of cars because it's got to be like as efficient as possible, whereas beforehand it like really didn't matter. So I'm glad companies like Pirelli are kind of creating those EV specific tires. And I looked, I guess Michelin makes an EV specific tire that has like lower rolling resistance, but it's only like sized for the Model Y, and like a couple other manufacturers are like starting to make them. So I'll definitely have to look into that once I need new tires again. So
can you get those fitted to the Model 3 since the Model Y and 3 are so similar?
No, I think they're slightly different sizes. I think they're wider or something.
Oh,
so
okay.
the rims would look weird, I think, on the Model 3 because they're slightly different sizes.
You would look like those trucks where they lower them and the wheels are pushed
right.
out. Like...
I think it would look a little weird. So, but yeah, I got that done. I just got my window tint done a few weeks ago.
Nice.
I didn't do the windshield, and I'm glad I didn't because I got 35 around the rest of the car. And the way tint works, it's like kind of backwards of what you would think. So like 35 means it only lets like 35% of light in, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Because you would think like a higher number means like a darker tint, but it's the opposite. Like a lower number means a darker tint. So
Yeah, I never really understood how that worked. Like,
I think it's like how much light it passes through, but I don't know if it's like a complete 1-to-1. I don't think it's exactly 35%. But anyway,
so for future episodes, we need a tint specialist and a tire specialist,
a rock specialist.
Yeah, and a rock. Yes, a geologist.
So I got the tint done, and I'm glad I didn't get the windshield done because I wear polarized sunglasses. And when I look out the side, there's like this like rainbow effect through the side mirrors and the rear view mirror.
I didn't think about
so like
that.
it's a weird kind of thing there. But I like the polarized sunglasses better. So
yeah. Did you go with ceramic tint or just normal tint?
I did not. It's just the plain tint, so that's probably why. Because I think the ceramic's a lot more expensive, so I didn't spring for that. I'd assume the ceramic doesn't have that issue, the like rainbow-ish issue.
We'll have to check on ours because we did ceramic tint on ours, and I think Tyler's sunglasses are accidentally polarized. So because I know with that, like our screen protectors on our phones, it's like a rainbow to him when he wears his glasses.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I'll ask him because I'm not really sure if it matters.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Yeah, my old phone, when I would wear my sunglasses, if I turned my phone horizontally, it went completely black because like the lines like crossed over each other, so it didn't let any light in like through my phone. So I had to like hold my phone a certain like orientation to see everything on the screen if I had the sunglasses on. So
that's awesome. So do you have any other accessories or upgrades you did?
No, that's it right now. I really need to clean my tires. I was going to go like take some nice photos of my car after I did those two things because it looks like completely different now. But the tires are just completely dirty. Like they need shined up and like really properly cleaned because they're like fresh from the factory. So I need to clean those and then I need to do a chrome delete at some point too. I've got the kit from Test Bros, but I am awful with vinyl, so I'm hoping like somebody can help me with it, putting it on my car because I'm not going to be good at it. So it'll just take, I think it's going to take like an 8-hour day to like put it on properly. So,
jeez. Well, yeah. I can tell you right now, I mean, I did really good with those labels in Arizona. I just want to clarify that in case, my boss is listening. But vinyl, that's one thing I don't think I could help you with. Tyler might be able to. He's pretty good with stickers.
It's true. We can make a weekend out of it.
Yeah. Right. Just sleep in our driveway again.
Yeah, I'm fine with the smaller stuff. I mean, stickers are fine. It's the like big long sheets of stuff that's usually like the issue. So even just like wrapping my door handles was like a pain. I was just like, it took me way longer than it should have, and
I'm stressed out thinking about it, and I'm not. It's not even our car.
Right. Yeah. So. But yeah, I'll probably do a video at some point, kind of walking through all the upgrades, like how the car is holding up after this amount of time, just for people that are curious, some of the other accessories and stuff I've been using. But yeah, that's kind of the main three right now. You brought up the stealth performance though, and I still do want to get the acceleration boost at some point. So I've just got to find $2,000 somewhere.
I thought you had that.
No, I never got it.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you had that. I guess maybe I got the enhanced autopilot mixed up with that.
Yeah, I bought enhanced autopilot, which honestly it's getting way more use than an acceleration boost would have.
Yeah.
But I think to like eventually I want to fully upgrade everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be nice. We did drive when we were test driving cars, we did drive that Model 3 with the acceleration boost, and there was a difference. I mean, yeah, you can feel it.
It goes for sure because it drops like a full half second off. Like that's not an insignificant amount of time when you're
yeah, no.
when you're going looking at a 0 to 60. So
Yep.
Well, but yeah, that's probably the only other thing.
I'm excited to see how everything turned out. I've been anxiously waiting for a photo, but I can see why you wanted to get nice and front.
I've got some crappy photos. I think I sent you the one with the new rims on there, but I don't have any good like professional ones.
I think I only saw the rim sitting on the ground. I don't think I saw like it on the car.
Oh, gotcha.
So maybe we can do an unveiling. Like maybe the next episode we'll we'll do an unveiling.
We'll start the episode with just 5 seconds of the picture of the car.
a second flash of a photo. There you saw it.
Perfect.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the one thing, that has me excited about Model 3 ownership is just how many accessories we could purchase for it.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I know we have a lot that we're planning, but we're doing a full PPF protection of the front.
Oh, really?
That's, I think next week. It's going to be about $1,800 to do the whole thing, but we're going to wrap
that's not too bad.
No, not at all. I mean, like it's the whole front of the car, the hood, the mirrors, and then I think the half of the A-pillar, like on both sides, so it's pretty much gonna like protect the entire paint of the front of the car.
That's smart.
So yeah,
that's one thing I wish I did, because mine is like littered with a ton of little like dings and scratches and all that stuff. Like at this point I'm probably gonna end up like just wrapping the whole car, like if it starts getting too dinged up, because by the time you pay for like paint restoration and like get all that stuff fixed, like it's almost the same cost. So
yeah,
it's sometimes not worth it.
Yeah, I think it's smart to, like if you can afford it to, either just do clear PPF or wrap the vehicle.
Right.
I think it's worth it, especially with how flat the Teslas are up front.
Right. There's no grill. It's just a wall. Yeah.
Nope. But yeah, no, I'm trying to think of how to wrap up this episode. I think just because like you and I have been so busy with work and everything, do you have any updates with like YouTube and like kind of like what you have planned for future content?
Oh, dang. So you brought up the CCS adapter.
Yes, which I wasn't calling you out. I just want to clarify that.
No, I understand like both sides of the argument for sure. So the CCS adapter has been kind of like highly like sought after for Teslas in the US, because we do have like a good Electrify America network. We have other good like fast chargers out there that Teslas could utilize. And with them being the most popular vehicle, it would be nice if you could charge at non-Tesla stations, fast charge at least. So the CCS adapter has been rumored for a while, and I did a complete deep dive into like what's necessary for the CCS adapter to work. So actually, I texted Brandon and Tyler, said, "Hey, does your car have CCS adapter support?" Because you can actually look in the car menu now and say like CCS adapter support, and it'll say like yes or no. And I guess when I bought my car, they put version 3, I guess, of the ChargePort ECU in there, which I'm not sure what ECU stands for. I'm guessing it's like electronic something unit.
I'm not sure.
It's some kind of chip basically that helps control the ChargePort and like process everything. So mine has version 3. They switched to version 4 at some point, and that gave you CCS adapter support by switching to that version 4 chip.
Interesting.
But because of the part shortage and like chip shortage, they only put that chip in there for like, I think 5 or 6 months, and then switched back to a stripped down version of that V4 chip So it's the same chip, it just doesn't have the CCS adapter support or like some other chip in there that it needs for that support.
Oh.
So that's why
weird.
like your brand new Model 3, or essentially brand new Model 3, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't have that support. It's because it probably has a stripped version of that ECU. So ideally, you can get a non-stripped version of the ECU for newer cars and just swap out the chips, right? Just put the non-stripped version in there and it'll have that support. And you've got to like flash the car and reset it or something like that. I read like a bunch of posts on it of people that have done this. Or you have to completely like replace the wiring harness because the like wiring is not the same between the V3 and the V4 chip. So you have to essentially completely replace that wiring harness and put the new chip in it to get CCS adapter support.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So,
wow.
And the reason you have to do all that is because this CCS adapter is going to be a passive adapter, which means it's got no computer parts in it. It's literally just like basically taking the pins from the CCS port and adapting them to the Tesla port. That's all it's going to do.
Oh, got it.
Whereas if you've seen the CHAdeMO adapter before, it's huge, right? And that's because it's not, I don't believe it's a passive device. It's a like active device. It recognizes, okay, there's an adapter attached. It translates the CHAdeMO signals to the Tesla signals so it communicates properly, and it's not a passive device. So the downfall with the passive device is you need that CCS adapter upgrade, you need that ECU upgrade. But the pro, or the good thing is, then it's a passive device. It's a much smaller adapter. It's just like a few inches wide, and you just put it on the end of the plug, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Interesting. So yeah, that would make sense why the adapter is much smaller than the CHAdeMO adapter.
Exactly, and that's why.
And so, that you would have to get those upgrades.
So I basically like have been trying to contact Tesla service to get the CCS adapter support, and I'm also working on getting a CCS adapter shipped in from South Korea, which has been a whole nother thing. But not going to say much else till I get it in-house and can mess around with it. So
yeah.
But I reached out to some other people in the Tesla Columbus group, and I think I'll probably do some testing when I finally get it in and see like how it works, what it looks like charging speeds, all that stuff, because I believe it's rated for 150 kW, so not like 50 like the CHAdeMO one was. So
wow. Hey, that's great.
Right.
That's great. Well, I guess that clarifies why a lot of the times that I've seen like photos of people using that CCS adapter that they, had imported, it works with some vehicles.
Right.
Like I've seen like some success with it and like, some like unsuccessful attempts. So that would make sense.
Right.
But so also that kind of, if Tesla does come out with that adapter here, obviously these vehicles would need a lot of work to be retrofitted to work.
It is, but it isn't. Because some people have done this by themselves, and I like read on this whole thread of like DIY ways to get this CCS adapter support. Because you can go into Tesla and ask for parts. Like you can ask them for this version 4 of this chip. You don't have to tell them what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
And so like if you can get that chip and you can rewire it properly to the new to your car, you could get CCS adapter support. So it would essentially be the Tesla tech doing that for the like retrofit per se, is doing all that. But yeah, it's a lot of work. And I finally got a response, like, cause I said, hey, I think I need part number XYZ. And they're like, we can't do that right now. Cause I don't trust myself to like do it by myself and risk like bricking my car if I like screw something up. Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they finally responded and said, I guess that they are going to roll it out as an upgrade in the app, which I think is similar to what they did in South Korea when they rolled out the adapter. So basically through the app, you could say upgrade for CCS adapter support. You would pay the installation fee, but then that fee would also cover the adapter itself. So like you would get the adapter plus the upgrade. It's kind of just an all-in-one package. They take care of it for you. So
yeah, I think it'd be worth it. I mean, instead of lugging around that CHAdeMO adapter, like that thing is not small. I've only used it once, but yeah, it's not easy to handle.
Did you all get one?
No. When I worked
Okay.
for Tesla, I did a trip up to northern. I'm just gonna say it lightly, not northern Michigan, but like near like Flint-ish area.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
at the time, the supercharger network was not. There was nothing above Ann Arbor, so I
Gotcha.
had to bring a CHAdeMO adapter with me to stop at
Gotcha.
Nissan's offices up there.
Oh my gosh.
That thing was. It's not easy to handle.
No, it's not.
No.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad they're hopefully releasing that. The other thing I looked into is I'm not sure if you replace that ECU if it stops CHAdeMO adapter support, because it would be like a different chip and it might work differently. I'm hoping no, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
So
I almost feel like the trade-off would be for the better though, because like
Definitely,
there's so many more CCS chargers out there, and like
I would only want it as like an EV nerd to be able to charge on like every port and
Right.
and like test every single one. So
right.
yeah, but yeah, that's the main thing I've been working on, but that's probably going to be a long-term video when I finally get all that stuff in. But yeah.
Cool. Well, I look forward to that one, and I'm sure a lot of people who are Tesla drivers will too.
Definitely. I also did another sidebar. I did not a deep dive, but I was looking into, I was doing some stuff at work today, and I've heard like ports, plugs, and what's the other one? Trying to remember. Like ports and plugs are interchangeable, but they're not really.
Yeah. We use connectors a lot. Like the term
Connectors. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Oh yeah, plug, connector, and port are like the three we use interchangeably. So I looked it up today, and I could throw this in the show notes too, because I thought it was like a good resource. But it's basically, so a plug is the part of the cable that connects into a port. So the plug would be charger side, port would be vehicle side, right? The connector is the actual end of the plug. So the part that actually like goes into a vehicle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like the big like holster would be the plug, but then the connector would be like the end, like inch or whatever that actually goes into the car.
Yeah. I guess if you want to think of it literally, it's connecting the two pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I feel like when I hear cable, I don't necessarily think of plug. Like I think of the action.
No, I think of the
plug.
actual like cable, but yeah.
Yeah, like the the verb of plugging something in.
Right.
Like yeah.
Right. But I've heard like ports, plugs, connectors, like all these used interchangeably. But like, gotta be concise with our language here and make sure we're getting it right.
Yes. Yeah. We don't want to confuse people because people think gas pump. Like in fact, I don't even know what the nozzle. Actually, yes, I do know what that is. The nozzle that gets inserted into the gas hole.
Have to bleep that out.
That was not a swear. We're still PG. We're rated PG.
My gosh.
How do you think we're going to keep climbing in that list? We just got to keep going.
Yeah. We're going to ping pong if it keeps going this way.
Right. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I feel like we need to do like a whole episode on like the way we talk about EVs and
like terminology and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Keeping it simple and concise, because like to me personally, I don't really think, unless like there's a reason for like engineering, I just said reasons, reason for engineering, it's just, there's no reason to have 3 different types of, vocab words for for everyday usage. Maybe from a data standpoint, but not from
definitely. Yeah, it's interesting because we work with a lot of people that have put in like are used to rolling out gas stations, and like they call even charging manufacturers are calling their pieces of hardware like dispensers, like it's dispensing gas, but it's not really. It's a whole different world, kind of new terminology to learn. So that'd be a good episode. I'll put that on our list.
Yes. Gotta keep growing.
Yeah, we got a long list now.
Hey, that's good. We're on season 5.
We're not doing seasons anymore also. I don't think we announced that officially.
Yes. No, we're just going to keep going.
We're just going to keep rolling. This is episode 41 total. So,
yes.
But I think we're to the rambling part of the episode. So I think we should probably wrap it up.
And this is where people drop off.
Yeah. So, thanks everybody for listening. Oh, gosh.
I totally started that when I said regioning. Regioning.
It's getting late.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks everybody for listening. We will catch you on the next episode. Definitely remember to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform if you listen to the podcast or audio version. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. We just crossed over 100 subscribers on YouTube as well.
Yes.
So another big milestone for the podcast, and we'll keep growing from here.
Yep. And thank you guys for the support and living the electric life.